In this lesson, you'll get a closer look at the syntax of cascading style sheets. Here we have a document with an external style sheet using this link tag here. And here is the style sheet, which specifies properties for the body element. So the body of the document will have a yellow background color and a brown text color and font family Helvetica, which looks like this in Internet Explorer. Now, one thing I haven't shown you yet is how to specify a style sheet using the style tag. Type equals text/CSS, just like in the link tag up here. And end style, because it is a container. And what it contains is basically the same thing that you can put in an external style sheet. The external style sheet, we have properties for body. So in this internal one, why don't we put properties for paragraph? Font family. It's Georgia. Then we go out to our document and reload. You'll see that the paragraph text changes to Georgia. Now, it's interesting to see what happens if we take this and copy it and paste it into the style sheet here and change it to something else, like, say, Tahoma. In the style sheet, it will not change. And here's why. The link tag happens in the document before the style element. So the external style sheet is read in first, and then the internal style sheet is applied on top of it. If the external style sheet were moved below the internal style sheet, like that, and then we save, now the font from the external style sheet will take priority because it is specified after the internal style sheet. Now, for a lot of reasons, I tend to prefer external style sheets. A lot of the power of CSS is in the fact that you can specify your styles once and have them apply to documents across your site. Sometimes it is convenient, however, to have styles that are local only to a particular document. In those cases, we can use this style tag format. It's also common to put a set of HTML comments tags around the content of the style. The reason for this is older browsers that may not understand the style tag may actually display on the screen the content of the style tag, in which case you would get this on the screen inside your document. So many people will go ahead and put these comments in around the content of the style tag, around the actual style sheet. It's been my experience, and at this point, that the browsers that don't understand the style tag are just so old that you'll very, very rarely ever see them. But if this concerns you, then go ahead and put the comments there. They really can't hurt anything. So now we see the three different ways of specifying style. There's the external style sheet, there's the internal style sheet like this, and then there's the style tag, where you might put a different font, say style equals font family Verdana. And that would apply only to this particular paragraph. There it is. So those are the three different ways to specify style. And for the remainder of this course, I'm going to concentrate mostly on the external style sheet. And you'll see why, as we go through this, that this is really the most powerful way to make use of style sheets. I want to take a moment now and look at the syntax of the style sheet itself so that you get an understanding of what everything is and how it works. This part of the style sheet is called the selector, and this tells the style sheet which part of the document this style will apply to. There are several different types of selectors. This one specifies that this style will apply to all the elements called body. We'll talk a little bit more about different types of selectors in a little while. Following the selectors, you have these curly braces. The curly braces bracket or surround the properties and values that are being applied to that particular selector. In this case, you have background color and font family. This part of the style sheet is called background-color. It's called a property, and it's always followed by a colon, not an equal sign. It's really easy to forget and put an equal sign there and have things not work. So that's one of the first things to look for when things don't work, is that's a colon and not an equal sign. And then the part after the colon is the value that is being applied to that property. And the values can be in all sorts of different formats. And then there's the semicolon, which is actually a separator and not a terminator. So technically, the last semicolon here in this particular style is superfluous. We could erase that. I tend to include it if I have more than one thing in a style, because that way I don't forget and put something after it and not have it there. So I'll even put it in here. I'll move this down here where it belongs and move this back. And I like to line things up. It just sort of makes me happy. So in a nutshell, that is the syntax of a style sheet. You have selectors, and you have the curly brackets, and you have the properties and the values. Colon here, semicolon there, and you got it. Now, in line, if you use, say, the style attribute, everything that goes inside of these quotes is the same as everything that goes inside of these curly brackets. So inside of those quotes, you can put properties. You can say line height, 150%, and then a semicolon, and you can put another property. You can say font weight, bold, and you can put a semicolon there or not because it's the last one. And then when you reload the page, you'll see that that gets applied. So everything that goes within the quotes follows the same syntactic rules as everything within the curly brackets in the external style sheet. So that is the syntax of the CSS style sheet.